Self-driving shuttles have arrived in Indianapolis. It's a pilot program that will take you to work or school. It's free. How do you feel about that subject here on this Tuesday night? Welcome to the comfy confines of the Channel 13 studios. Great to be with you here on Facebook Live. I'm Scott. We'll get to Angela in a moment, talk about the beautiful temperatures we've been having. Let us know where you're watching Facebook Live tonight. We'll give you a shout out. Want to continue the conversation tonight as we all get ready for 13 News at 11 o'clock. Our big story this evening on the show is going to be exploring the idea that life is slowly returning to normal here in central Indiana. They had a big crowd at the Fisher's Spark event tonight. Big crowd for a concert as life continues to look more like 2019. We're tired of 2020 and the pandemic and all the events that have been shut down, but we're seeing conventions come back into town, restaurants starting to see growth and more people coming in. It is very exciting. We want to talk about that with you tonight here on Facebook Live. But the big story tonight has been the weather. Angela, what a beautiful evening across Indianapolis. Temperatures were so mild today.
So mild, only low 70s, a good 10 to 15 degrees colder than where we should be for the end of June. So I guess the only complaint is if you really like summer heat, you didn't like today. But I have a feeling most people like today.
They do. And we got another one coming in tomorrow?
We do, and just a few degrees warmer. It will be interesting to watch. We've had a couple of thunderstorms develop across parts of eastern Nebraska, Iowa, kind of riding the edge of the heat. And we're going to be on the edge of the heat again tomorrow. So we'll just have to wait and see if any of those disturbances hold together. I'm going to include a slight rain chance northern part of the state. Everybody else, just a few more clouds than what we had today, and a few degrees warmer. Will be between 75 and 80. But for most of us, this will be day 2 in a row with high temperatures in the 70s and quite a bit cooler than where we should be. I don't normally show you the 7-day forecast, but Scott, when people look at this and they see Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they think, oh, it's going to rain all weekend.
Right.
And for some, I do think it is going to be a mainly wet weekend. We just don't know this far out where that kind of train of heavy rain is going to set up.
Right.
It could be in Illinois. It could be the northwestern part of our state. It could be the southeastern part of our state. So what we encourage you to do the next couple of days, don't just focus on the fact that I've got raindrops Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
But check back with us because we're going to fine tune when we get some dry hours, because I do believe there will be some. And right now looking like we get some dry hours Friday afternoon and maybe Saturday afternoon. Again, it all depends on where this kind of river of rain sets up. And unfortunately, it's going to have a tropical feel to it. So that's going to mean higher heat, higher humidity, and high rainfall rates.
Wow.
And if you remember to last weekend, specifically last Friday, we had that tropical feel and those high rainfall rates that quickly led to flooding. So this far out, we know that is going to be an issue. Do we know if it's going to be in Indianapolis, Richmond, or Terre Haute yet? No, we're going to kind of have to wait and analyze the latest data as it comes in. So best advice for the weekend, I know people are already making outdoor plans, is to check back with us. Okay, and to get that live Doppler 13 weather app on their phone, that way they can track it too. Yes, and don't worry if we've got raindrops Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I do think there will be some dry hours for outdoor plans, but it's also going to be another weekend to stay weather aware with that threat for some additional heavy rain. Yeah, that's good to know. Let's hear from our Facebook friends tonight. Rachel saying, I personally like the heat, no humid air, but the heat. Okay. So Rachel's okay with that. Also tonight joining us, Monica is watching. Roger is joining us from Pigeon Forge. Anastasia saying, hi Angela, I missed you from Syracuse. Let's see, Mark joining us from St. Louis today. Mark, nice to have you here. Tanya is here saying she wants to go to a horror convention and the state fair. Is there a horror convention coming to Indianapolis? I don't know. Not really sure about that. There's a sweet convention, but it's not open to the public that's coming to downtown. Right. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of people. I think there's 7,000 people coming to Indianapolis tomorrow. This is this the sweets and snacks convention, which sounds like a pretty good time to be in Indianapolis. I don't know how you get that gig. Yeah, that's right. Cindy joining us from Greencastle. Claude joining us from Texas tonight, Sharon from Logansport, Sandra from Alexandria tonight. So we've got lots of Facebook friends joining us tonight. It's great to have all of you with us.
continue to let us know how you feel about the weather conversation, and we'll get back with Angela in a moment. All right, let's turn our attention to our big story that you're going to see tonight on 13 News at 11. I don't know about you, but to me it feels like life is returning to normal. It seems like we're seeing more events, more people are traveling, they're going into restaurants, we're seeing fewer masks. I mean, obviously we know the pandemic's still around, and unvaccinated people, unfortunately, are still getting sick from COVID-19, but for those people who have been vaccinated, life is looking pretty good and feeling pretty normal. Friend of the show, Alan Carter, joins us from home tonight. Alan, you were up in Fishers, and you had a big crowd up there at Spark Fishers, didn't you?
Yeah, and I got to hear some live music today,
nice.
Which I can't tell you I don't know the last time that happened. It was a 50s, 60s cover band.
Nice.
Which, they were good though. But to be fair, any type of live music to me right now sounds like a good idea. So maybe it was a little bit of recency bias, but it was a good time. But as you said, it was hundreds and hundreds of people that showed up to this. This is an event that they do annually, or they try to do annually. Of course, they couldn't do it last year because of COVID-19. So the first year that they're able to open it back up, people were out there early. I think people just wanted to have a seat, see some of their neighbors, sit around without wearing a mask, and just really had a good time getting ready to listen to the music. As you mentioned, we also have the Snacks and Sweets convention, which, I mean, that sounds like my kind of party.
Exactly.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into that one, but again, another big crowd. I think you guys said it, about 7,000 people expected to show up for this convention. It's a trade show, really, and it's the first one that they've had here in Indianapolis in roughly 18 months. Since COVID happened. So, that's where you start looking at some of those signs, when you're starting to get crowds back downtown, and you're starting to get people back in hotels and back in restaurants. That's what we're looking forward to. And when you listen to the mayor today, one of the things that he said is that this is all possible because of the vaccination rates that they are seeing. In fact, one interesting thing that did come out of the press conference that they did with health officials today is that they were looking at some of the tracing from COVID cases related to the Indy 500. They said they were only able to count 19 cases that are connected to that event from the Indy 500 of fans that attended. And this was more than 135,000 people that showed up there. When you talk about only 19 people that came down with COVID-19 connected to that event, that's a pretty good number.
That is a great number. I mean, I think there were some people out there, very few, that thought, well, maybe this is going to be a super spreader event, that we'd see lots of COVID cases. But as you mentioned, 135,000 people sitting outside, only 19 cases of COVID. That's pretty good.
Yep, and as you said, it was an outside event, so that certainly helped things as well. But when you have more people that are vaccinated, and that means that the virus is spreading, there's less places for it to spread, because some people won't get sick because they're vaccinated, obviously.
Yeah. All right, Alan, we're definitely looking forward to watching your story tonight. That's encouraging news to see big crowds, people enjoying themselves, life getting back to normal. And as I think somebody mentioned in your story, it's feeling like 2019 instead of 2020. And that's a good thing, right?
Exactly.
All right.
Listen to some live music.
Awesome. All right, Alan, thanks so much. We'll see you tonight on the big show tonight at 11 o'clock. So let's bring Angela back and talk a little bit more. So you and I have both been on vacation here in the last week. What are some of the things that you've seen that make you feel like life is returning to normal?
I guess there's just an ease, an ease of people that you can, well, now that we don't have masks on, you can, at least vaccinated people, you can see people's faces, and there's a little more what appears to be just ease. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
And happiness and smiles, and they're just kind of inching back into, what it was like. And it's just sometimes crazy to think what we have been through in the last 15, 16, 17, 18 months.
Right.
And that's, I think, what I've noticed. How about you?
Well, first of all, family events, being around family and not having to wear a mask, not having to sanitize my hands every 5 minutes. One of the things happened just this week to our TV station. Our station policy has eased. We no longer have to wear masks as we move from the newsroom into the studio. And so that is great. That is just life-giving, not having to wear the masks. Going into restaurants, not having to necessarily wear masks everywhere you go. Walking into the grocery and not wearing a mask. I mean, that is great. So, I think we're just in, it's summertime, the weather is better, the sun is out. I think people are just feeling better. And again, if you've been vaccinated, you're good to go. And I think, getting on airplanes and traveling, and I think, we're seeing quite a bit of that. Airports are filling up. People are going all over the place. They're enjoying themselves. And I think the country is feeling good again,
Yeah, I had a newsroom conversation with our boss yesterday for 5-10 minutes, and I can't tell you the last time that has happened.
Yeah.
Face to face and not on a Zoom or not on a phone or via text or whatever. And what's surprising, I think a few of our viewers chiming in, wow, 19 out of 135,000.
I mean, that's a staggering number.
And I told her, I said that, Tanya, that was our reaction when we heard that stat, and we were talking about it during our editorial meeting this afternoon, that, wow, that's it, 19?
I know.
So. Yeah,
that is good news. All right, so how do you feel, Angela, about driving around in a car without a driver?
I like to drive. So I don't think, I never saw myself really in a big city where most people don't have cars. You just kind of walk or get around.
Right.
I like to drive.
Yeah, I do too.
And I am not a good passenger. Mark will tell you, if he could call in right now, he'd tell you how horrible of a passenger I am, because, if I'm not driving, you're not doing it right.
Okay, so now you sound like Janae. You sound like my wife. She thinks I'm a horrible driver.
Oh, Mark's the worst.
That I speed, I tailgate, I get too close to other cars. Yeah, she hates driving with me. She hates riding.
She'd much rather drive.
She would. She wants to be in control. I want to be in control. I don't know. I guess. I drive most of the time, but anyway.
But she doesn't like it.
I digress.
Maybe she'll get one of these vehicles, the driverless vehicle.
My wife would rather go in the driverless vehicle than with me. All right, so the reason we're talking about this, of course, is that Indianapolis has this pilot program, these driverless cars. They're trying out a shuttle system to get people around from work and school. It's a free program. They're testing it out here in our city, and Jenny Runovich went for a spin today in one of these cars. Check it out.
Sharing the road in Indy, buses and cars now have unique company. An autonomous shuttle system of self-driving cars connecting IUPUI, parts of downtown, and linking to the Indigo Red Line. 5 Lexus vehicles and a wheelchair-accessible shuttle giving free rides weekdays from 7 to 7. The 9 stops are trackable online.
The goal of this is to learn, is to prove out the technology, but also to expose people to this new reality of self-driving vehicles.
For us, it is new, so to really get a sense of it,
we're gonna take off now.
You have to take a ride.
Everything by the vehicle is being driven by itself, the steering wheel, the accelerator, everything.
Jordan works for the city of Fishers, which starts an autonomous shuttle program this winter.
And then what's the max speed for you guys?
In Michigan, we travel at 22. The posted speed limit is 25.
Sensors tell the car what to do, and although there is always someone behind the wheel, Carlos is not driving. His hands are at the ready if he needs to take over in an emergency.
You can't tell any different than being in a driver car.
Okay.
It doesn't feel necessarily any difference.
Even from my perspective, the stopping is a little bit clunky. And it takes some getting used to, but it feels like you're riding in a regular car with a regular driver. After Indy's pilot program ends in November, they'll evaluate what's next. If the response is good,
I hope that you enjoy the ride.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Self-driving shuttles could be here to stay. Jenny Runovich, 13 News.
All right, Facebook friends, based on that story, is that something that you're interested in? Would you ride in one of these self-driving or driverless cars, the shuttle? Would you do that?
I think the overwhelming response is no. And Liz comments that whoever was in the passenger seat sounded terrified.
Well, I can't help but think that the person who's sitting in the driver's seat, who doesn't have his hands on the wheel, I can't believe that's a really fun job to be driving around. You know, it goes 7 in the morning till 7 at night. You're sitting in the driver's seat. You don't actually hold the wheel.
Yeah.
You're there, I guess, as an emergency, but I don't know.
You can't rest your hands, and then your reaction time, I would think, has to be pretty darn good.
Right.
For you to recognize the emergency and then either take control of the brake or the accelerator or turn or what, I don't know. They remind me a little bit of those little robots they have at Purdue, which I love, but those things only deliver like food and Starbucks.
Right, right. Yeah, that's good.
Not
good,
people.
Good point. I'll have to ask my wife if she'd rather drive in one of those cars or drive with me. Perhaps she'll even weigh in here on Facebook Live.
Oh, she hasn't commented yet. So
She's gone silent on me. I'll be dealing with that later. All right, so if people are just joining us tonight and want to know about that forecast, that wake-up weather on Wednesday, how's it looking?
It looks great. I mentioned the storms, and I didn't show you them at the very beginning, so I've got radar up for you. This is a weakening complex, but it's just going to be kind of left over. So they're all developing along the edge of the heat. We're going to be on the edge of the heat. So if a disturbance develops tomorrow, look for it to develop maybe Milwaukee, South Bend, Fort Wayne, Detroit. So we can't rule out a spotty shower north, but I've got the rest of central Indiana dry, mix of sun and clouds tomorrow. Another comfortable start at 57, a quick warm up to 73 at noon, and that's actually going to be warmer than we were for a high today. And then upper 70s, around 78 or so for tomorrow afternoon.
I have a feeling you and I are both going to be doing those long walks tomorrow because temperatures are going to be perfect for us.
My alarm is already set for the morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so you actually set an alarm, huh? To get out the door early? Is that?
I do. Grace has to be somewhere, and I'm going to secretly make sure she's on her way.
Okay. Got it. All right. Very good. All right, Facebook friends, we love having you with us tonight. Be sure to join Angela and myself every weeknight, 10 o'clock, right here. And we'll see you tonight at 11 o'clock over on 13 News, part of our big story, life returning to normal here in central Indiana. We'll see you tonight at 11. Good night.